I love that role of director in the theater. There's no grades, there's no evaluation, it's just me working with them.
I think it's really interesting. He's taken a really interesting take on it, on how to approach the process, because of the limited time that we had. He spent a week or 2 weeks just making us like own the text. So it wasn't about volume, it wasn't about moving, nothing. Like just sitting down. You know, you can move if you want. Just sitting down and really act, like really master those words and let them become your own.
As you guys are thinking about this, find ways to let it. That first scene is very light and everything, but as things go through the play, it becomes more formal and more this right. Yeah. Okay. Is I want to be able to direct, and I want the actors to be able to feed me back. I want to go to a rehearsal, work a scene, and then the next time I see the scene, it's clear that they've worked on the scene, and the scene has gone somewhere. Okay, good. Now, did you hear all the difference in the world? You took your time, you thought about what you were going to say, you thought about what his reaction was going to be, as opposed to these are lines. Forget that these are lines. And start thinking about them as you're communicating to that other person. Okay, so stop thinking about reading and think more about what you're saying. And I don't care if the lines are exactly right yet. Eventually, they must be exactly right. But at this point, I'm much more interested in the thought. So can you say, just like you did, Julian, I think that's how you thought about that, but then do it with these words. My Lord. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Have that kind of ease with it. Okay, go ahead, try it.
The way that he interacts with every person is different, and I just felt lucky enough to understand a lot of the stuff that he was trying to say, and how he would direct other people was different. A lot of people, he would have to push the physicality a little bit more. Other people, the objectives of the scene, like they had to know what all that was going on.
That on your words you stood up a little bit straight, but let's try something like that.
You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice.
Good.
Wouldst thou beg, Laertes?
Good.
That shall not be my offer, not thy asking.
Dread, my lord.
I don't think that you do that, the king. Yeah. So that you may take a little step forward, but that would be all that you would do. And I think a little bit of a, dread my lord, a little bit of a nod, yeah. But yes, stay kind of in your space. Before, when you guys have connected with each other, it's been kind of casual connecting. But if you can do a little bit more robotic. Make this scene light. Okay, this scene should not be heavy. This scene should be light and kind of playful, and it will get a little bit darker, but let's keep it a little bit light. Does that make sense? Okay, go ahead.
Have you your father's leave? What says Polonius?
I don't think you do that. Yep. No. Just be not sure what to say. Keep going.
And he would harp on other people this too, but I know for me he'd be like, you gotta be working on your lines outside of rehearsal and be thinking about what they mean and be coming into rehearsal with new ideas about how to say those lines. Now, my cousin Hamlet.
Okay, now be careful. You're fatherly. Everybody is here, and if you say, but now, everybody's going to go, so that you've got to say things. You've got to say things that are that everyone would say. And did you see how fatherly he was? That's what you've got to do. Does that make sense? You're very aware of. You're extremely good. You're very logical. You're very much a man of the head. You know how to do things. You know the right way. That Julian was able to buy into that and play that role. That Mary was able to take on those things. That Emily was able to find, that Luke made sense. I was very surprised and pleased. I look back at a lot of the plays that I direct. There's very few that I look back with regrets. When I think back on the show, I think, But Hamlet to me was special in a real special way. That we took on that and we made it happen, and I really was proud of that production. And why don't you just take her hand and maybe you kiss her?
Now our queen.
Oh, now not verbally, but that's what you're saying. That's what you all love this. Here, okay, here. Okay, keep going. You guys can respond in looks or in, we don't have to act, but we can just know it, okay? And that will help us know how to respond. Keep going.
The imperial jointress of this warlike state, have we as Toro with the defeated joy, with mirth in funeral and dirge in marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to light.
You see these bullets?
Good Horatio, watch her closely, and then he comes back. She's drowned.
I took these bullets from someone's gun.
A diary.
So if he tries to shoot me after the show,
I wish I could have a smoke.
I have my dart gun.
I usually don't sleep well the night after auditions because I keep recasting it and recasting and recasting in my head. And I think I remember sleeping well that night.
I just told him about that. But tomorrow, like,
Wait,
what are they doing?
They're like, draw a monster. So by free association, they told me different animals to draw. I just threw them together.
That's what you get for stealing my mother.
Okay, guys. I'm gonna take you back up here after our exciting dress rehearsal.
Oh, we got something special for you.
This is Farron escaping. We'll probably never see her again.
We have white cheese with little brown pieces of who God knows what.
You're messing up my hair.
This is my script.
What are you doing? Stop. There was.
That's the hole where the grave diggers come out. And where Steve fell the other night.
doors are broken. Where is this king? Oh, thou vile king!
Well, the funny thing is, I didn't really get called so much as I just completely wantonly offered my services to Professor Doherty. I think Shakespeare paints with a lot of fine brushes in this play, kind of the emotional palette. It's very, very interesting, very brooding, very understated, and yet very poignant and moving at the same time. And so reflecting that in music is kind of going to be what we're going for. Originally with my friend Shane Dabney, two of us were kind of coming up with kind of the conceptual palette of what themes we were going to come up with. And we had my piano hooked up to his amp because we were exploring, different piano ideas and stuff. And I was just playing these arpeggiated chords. And Shane had left the delay on his amp, so that quickly became ended up being one of those, awesome musical accidents, which became the main theme for the show. And it was such a great lesson for me, the whole project, in, how music can affect, the drama of a situation. And there were so many wrong ideas we explored.
How long hast thou been a grave maker?
Oh, all the days of the year.
There was just amazing balance of a song or music pushing a scene into melodrama.
Unwholesome life. Usurp. Immediately.
the garden for his estate.
My favorite moments of the whole show would be at the end, when, you know, Hamlet is dying, and he's doing his final speech to Horatio. And we were just slowly, Professor Doherty and I worked a lot on this, just slowly bringing in this A minor chord. And as the drama of the scene built it a little bit. Faded out as Hamlet died. You're just gonna have the music. So you almost have the score dying with Hamlet.
When we were at production meetings as opposed to rehearsals, we were not in the world of storytelling Hamlet. Well, we were, but just in a different context. You know, it wasn't coming from ourselves and our own experience as much as you know, how are we going to tell the story, but through design.
I wish I could just work with the students and say, let's just talk about what's working. So me being able to work with them, I'm free when I'm working with them as a director or a coach. We're together working on a script that's got a lot of meat, and that's the part of my job that I really enjoy. By next week, I think we'll be able to make a choice.
It'll be a very similar picture like this, but with Dave in costume. This is the main Hamlet. This is our Gertrude one, our sometimes mother, now our queen. And then this is the main one that something is wrong with it.
Nice use of
Now I understand why you have time to work on the sets. Prof. Go. There are enough circuits for a 4-point lighting area for 3 of the 10 acting areas. One counted. I counted. Julian has not gotten me the floor plan, so I improvised
You
the
texted
cars
it to her.
for him.
When people were finding out that I had basically volunteered to be stage manager, they told me I was crazy. They didn't know why I had done that, and honestly, I didn't know why either. I'd never been a stage manager before, but coming to Franciscan, I promised myself that if ever Innocent Theater put on a production of Shakespeare's play while I was here, that I would be involved somehow. So I went to the auditions, and it didn't look like I was going to get a part, so I thought, well, might as well just try for something. So I remember going up to Professor Doherty and saying that if you couldn't find anyone to be a stage manager, I'm definitely interested. And looking back, I now understand why Lexi and Mary had such strange looks on their faces. This girl who has no idea what she's doing just came up and volunteered to take on this crazy role.
Each night the house opens at 7:30. That's at 7:30, not after. So please make sure that the lights are off in the shop and backstage.
I mean, it took a big part of my life, and I wasn't expecting that. But I still wanted to go through with it. I had committed to it, and I honestly really came to enjoy the play. And
I have to make sure lights are on, doors are unlocked, and everything is ready to be set up. I bring my stuff up to the light booth, grab my clipboard, start my checks. Crew gets here at 6:30, cast gets here at 6:50. Just gotta make sure that everyone's here and doing their job. Okay, costume done, pieces together, and all of them are done? Okay.
I knew that my role here as Professor Doherty had informed me, and as I came to realize and really believe that the role of a stage manager is really a role of a servant. And you're here to serve others, to make sure everything else is going well. So all your stresses, cares, and concerns really have to be left outside the theater. That way you can help provide for everyone else.
I think we really had an extraordinary stage manager.
Went to mass and came back to my room, tried to finish all my work, tried taking another nap. It wasn't happening.
Your fans are stacking up in the hall.
Booze and cigarettes. That is the potion that makes up Hamlet's life.
I feel like a lot of it is an ongoing kind of preparation because you're thinking about your character and you're thinking about why you do some things, throughout the day.
Like, I'm in the worst possible state I can be for an opening night, except being drunk.
I like that went well.
I like that went well on 3. 1, 2, 3.
I like that went well.
Tonight is our academic night, so immediately following the production tonight, there will be a talkback that you all are welcome to stay for.
Lights down. Music resume.
Good night, sweet prince. The choirs of angels, sing thee to thy rest.
Okay, we like to have this fairly informal, so if anybody has any questions to start with, start with that. There's one. Good.
I was wondering if, you had a hard time keeping a straight face through any of the intense acts.
The scene where I come in, I say, "Where is this king?" I'm threatening Claudius. A couple nights ago, I guess I don't know what happened, but
Okay, I wanted to ask a question of you. How many of you have read the play before? Have seen a production before? Oh. Okay, now the question that I was going to ask, especially for those of you who have only read it and never seen it before, big difference? Any comments about that? Any talking?
Yeah, it was a lot more believable to be able to see it, and it was much more understandable than it was just reading it. And the characterizations were fantastic tonight, guys. They really were. So, well done.
Very exciting.
I guess one thing that I noticed was that you had this great soundtrack, this great music.
I thought the show went really, really well tonight. It's always a mystery when you go into the first night with an audience because you do not know. You think you know, but you do not know. And to see the audience be as caught up with the story as they were, I think that they stayed with it. They were not bored. They were, toward being on the edge of their seat, and that's what you always want to have. I thought it went really well. It's really exciting.
Because I'd seen a couple movies on Hamlet, and I've always under the impression that Hamlet was faking his madness. But there were times during the production tonight I wasn't sure as if he's supposed to be faking it or if he really was mad, and I was a little bit confused on that.
Well, the irony is that you pretend to be something for such a long time that you eventually will become it, and when he sees the ghost and he's prompted to his revenge and everything, that unlocks a kind of chain in his head, and even though he thinks it's going to be a genius plan, make everyone think I'm just crazy to cover it up. Have something that heavy inside of your soul will corrupt you.